Alex Morgan has come out and said that she thinks it's bizarre that FIFA has looked to have Visit Saudi sponsorship for the Women's World Cup. She said, "I think it's bizarre that FIFA has looked to have a Visit Saudi sponsorship for the Women's World Cup when I would not even be supported and accepted in that country. So I just don't understand it." Pretty much everyone has spoken out against that because morally it just doesn't make sense.
Mm.
She said, "I think that what Saudi Arabia can do is put efforts into their women's team that was just formed up only a couple years ago and doesn't even have a current FIFA ranking within the FIFA ranking system because of the few games they've played. So that would be my advice to them, and I really hope that FIFA does the right thing."
Hmm.
Alex Morgan
Okay.
going hard. I was like, oh damn, I didn't know she was really going hard like that.
Okay. Like obviously, because I don't like to give benefit down the beginning. I was like, "Whoa, what you trying to say, Doc?" Because me and Bam are watching the newly woke Saudi Arabia with the female players and the female people at the games. The females with no hijab chilling at the games, but
Heavy, heavy.
and then but it
Yeah.
doesn't really work like that. Literally to lay down again. The but it doesn't really work like that. But it's really cool that her stance, because I have my own issues with Saudi Arabia in itself as a government, but I think it's really cool that her stance was still, which I feel like is kind of forgotten. It's still very pro female empowerment.
For
It's
sure.
still pro, equality and saying like, it's really cute. You want to do all this world stuff, but you're giving a lot of opportunities to countries who are doing the bare minimum, right? To just so they could skirt by regulation. It's like, yeah, well, you formed a women's team, but what, like clearly they're not getting the games in there. You're not investing in the women's team. You're investing in other avenues, but you're not investing enough within the women, which you clearly have plenty you can invest in.
Yeah.
So that's a great point by Alex. I think that's I like that. That was really cool. That's
Yeah.
actually that's a refreshing thing to hear. That's refreshing.
And there's more. She actually went hard, but
Okay.
Saudi Arabia is doing what they call sports washing,
Mm.
their image, um, and yeah, there have been some changes in Saudi Arabia when it comes to women's freedom and rights, but sadly, and I'm not gonna get too into it, but sadly, like it was like only at the behest of the king and the crown prince.
Mm.
Any like activists that like speak out against what's going on there will get like jailed and probably killed. Just ask Khashoggi. But Alex Morgan also came out. She wasn't just aiming at Saudi Arabia. She
Mm.
was aiming at the good old US of A.
Oh.
She said that Morgan also said that the U.S. national team should have internal discussions about playing games in states that restrict young transgender athletes from participating in sports.
Wow.
The team they're going to be doing the She Believes Cup next week. The tournament with Canada, Brazil, Japan, and there's going to be matches. There's matches scheduled in Florida and Texas, two states that have enacted laws aimed at transgender athletes. She said that looking at these games in Florida and Texas, respectively, we're going to need to continue to step it up and have internal discussions as well with the team because we're not ones to shy away from hard conversation or taking a stand for what's right. Um, the U.S. women have previously criticized efforts to limit transgender kids from playing organized sports. Last year, during a game in Texas, several players wore wristbands that said "Protect Trans Kids."
Wow.
Yes.
That's my national team, not the U.S. men's.
Becky Sauerbrunn actually last week wrote an op-ed in Springfield News Leader, which is in Missouri, like a local
Mhm.
paper, defending the rights of transgender athletes. Becky Sauerbrunn. And then Alex Morgan continued to say that playing in Florida and Texas, that's something that the team definitely needs to look at. I think just even talking about it is good. The inclusion of trans kids in sports is the inclusion of kids in sports. Everyone should have the ability to play sports.
Mhm.
And she said some more things. So yeah, Alex Morgan out here going hard.
I like that. I think it's important to I also think it's really funny when you see like a lot of like males inside of like political spaces or leadership positions discuss on how trans athletes can't play with male or female or whatever side. And
Mhm.
this female athlete is talking about their rights and stuff like that. So, they always talk about, oh, well, if a trans female player played in a female league, it would be you know, disadvantageous for women, and yet the women themselves are advocating for their rights, which leads to me that they advocate for the equality of them as well, right? Like you don't advocate for the right for someone to be like, but hey, like clearly, like there's a lot of like inclusion involved in this, and I think that's really important. Um, I feel like for a while we've just been kind of hearing really brain dead takes from athletes for a long time now.
Yeah,
And a lot of takes that just make you like roll your eye or just be like, ugh, like just stick to practicing. Like, I don't want to hear this. You honestly feel you're like you want to be like shut up and dribble to some of these athletes, the way they're talking about things in a nonsensical format. But to hear this is really good. And I agree with her, like 100%. I think that there's been a lot of state legislature going on that, especially coming up, that's literally effectively destroying the free lives of Americans who are transgender, like literally destroying their lives. And they're like, I mean, that's great and all, but we don't want to play soccer there. Like, I'm sorry,
yeah,
like they want to. If Florida wants to do what they want, great, but doesn't mean we have to go there. Like, there's
exactly.
49 other states,
Yeah,
and some of those aren't trying to do that, and we want to play there.
exactly.
We it's a She Believes Cup. We want to give power to the women and athletes and transgender athletes and people to come and attend. So we want to do it somewhere else, and I respect that.
Yeah. Shout out to Alex Morgan. She's going hard. I appreciate it.
Big time
I
shout
mean,
out
I
Alex
feel like we
Morgan.
always hear about Megan Rapinoe. And
And
I
they make it seem like she's the only one in there who like feels this
exactly.
way.
And I feel like Alex Morgan is like the like, she is like white
She's
bread.
a poster child.
Yeah,
She's a
she is
poster child
like
for soccer, women's soccer.
ponytail, heterosexual, had a
She
baby.
gives Mia Hamm energy. Like that's the face of
Yeah,
women's soccer.
yeah, exactly. And the fact that she's coming out like this, like I really appreciate it.
That's big. You need that.
Yeah, for sure. Like sadly, like when it's Megan Rapinoe, like she's a lesbian and she's
Yeah,
got
they're gonna
short
objectify her
hair, like
because she's lesbian. They're not gonna respect
exactly,
her because of it.
exactly. Moving on, there was